Well, Nico, thanks very much for squeezing us in. I know you're running around Davos and you've got to be running off to the next thing in a few minutes. But your introduction kind of made the point. Formula One world champion and green tech investor. How's that transition going?
That's a bit of a disruption right there, I guess. From petrol head to really being into impact investing in green technologies. But no, it's been a fascinating time, a complete change in life for me. And after my retirement 2 years ago, and I had the privilege of being here 2 years ago as well, to get introduced to this world. And I had a talk on human performance, which was really my way into Davos. And it had resonated well with the people, so that was cool, and it's something I'm very passionate about as well. And so I had the chance of joining the YGL community, and now really Davos is on my calendar every year, and I'm being here. And no, it's been a great ride, and in investing I've taken on as a new challenge. So for example, I'm a shareholder in Formula E as well, which I'm very proud to be involved with, and Formula E going from strength to strength at the moment.
I guess I wonder, when you talk about, I'd like to get into some of the things that you've invested in, but just thinking about the culture shift, I can't help thinking, when you're with the sort of Silicon Valley types, isn't part of you a bit frustrated when you think, look, I've spent quite a lot of my life driving really fast cars, and you're telling me that you can solve all the world's transport problems with scooters? Where do you get off?
No, it's I quite like actually the mentality, because it's very, very fast paced in that startup ecosphere, and so I'm really feeling at home actually, and I like it, I enjoy it, so I like supporting some of those companies. And there's so many incredible things. I mean, it's really a unique opportunity we have at the moment out there in technology to make a huge difference in our world, which is also one of the reasons why we're all coming together here. So,
well, I was interested in that because you said, so you're very into impact technologies, and your definition I saw of an impact technology is one that will change the world for the better without taking anything away from the present. That seems a little bit too good to be true to me. Point to an impact technology that hasn't taken anything away from the present.
No, you're right. I mean, we need to be careful not to go extreme with our statements and things like that. But no, but that's, I mean, it's positive change, yeah, which we want to achieve, and that's what impact is about. And we need to make positive changes, desperately needed. And if I can say as well, I've assisted some meetings this morning here in Davos, and there's so many great ideas coming together. But something that I would like to urge is to really emphasize on implementing the action as well. Yeah? And there was a weakness of one of the meetings this morning, that so many people with great ideas, but then everybody goes away, that's it, nothing happens. So really think about ways to create fast action, maybe with peer pressure as well. Yeah? So we really make everybody aware of the action that maybe happened or didn't happen after such a get-together. I think that's something, a little message I would like to send out.
Okay, so I'll pin you down on that then. If you're thinking about making change, the future of transport, you've been particularly into transportation, obviously. You've invested in Lyft. How is Lyft going to be part of that future for transport?
Well, in the immediate future, it makes it a lot more efficient. Yeah, our whole the way we get around, the way we use cars. As we know, it's a very, very inefficient process at the moment, with a lot of the cars just immobile most of the time. But with more time, ride sharing is a big key, and especially once we go to autonomy, it becomes much more affordable as well. And I think it's going to be, it's going to be a huge part of our future, and in making mobility more sustainable.
And is your own startup, your own transport startup, going to be following on from that? You kind of announced it in October, but you haven't given us very much information. Can I tease a bit out of you here?
No, yeah, so I'm proud that I'm involved myself in a big startup at the moment, but it's actually event-orientated. It's not a product. And it's really focused on bringing together people, creating workshops to accelerate positive change. But announcement coming in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Sorry.
Okay, but
sorry,
we're just among friends here. I mean, just so you. So
we're not live on Bloomberg, right?
No.
Nobody's watching.
But let me get this. So it's a transport-related big event. But it's not. This isn't a version of F1 or anything, because that was also a big event. This is a learning opportunity.
Let's focus on green technologies. That's really the core of it, and bringing together people, but I don't want to say more. I need to be careful. I'll get in trouble with
All
my
right.
co-founders.
Well, all right. If you're not going to tell us about your thing, maybe you can we can get you saying something about other people's companies. You've talked about Europe being far too far behind in this area, given that the skill set that European companies have, and that China is way ahead, America's way ahead on everything, but particularly in mobility. How do you think Europe could, if they were going to come away from Davos and really take action on getting Europe ahead on this, where do you think they should start, apart from with your startup?
I mean, one example is the mayor of Berlin, who just ordered BYD buses from China to roll out in the city of Berlin. I mean, that's just unbelievable. We are, like, Germany is the center of the automotive industry, in my view, and then we're ordering electric buses from China.
But it's the center of fiscal prudence as well. I suspect
they
were probably cheaper.
So that's the other matter. That I think one thing is, from a government perspective, we should look at making a change and allowing all these big funds like pension funds to allocate a little bit more money to risky investments, because this is one of the advantages that we have in America, that there's a regulation which allows these pension funds to allocate some assets to really extremely risky startup investments, and that's what's fueling that incredible growth and that incredible pace. And we don't have that in Europe, so I think that's one of the issues that is really holding us back.
But I think the pace, I mean, mostly if you look at how BMW, for example, transformed its attitude to electric cars. I mean, are you not being a little bit down on? I mean, some of the quite old-fashioned companies in Europe have managed to get onto that train quite quickly, I think, haven't they?
No, of course. Now they're catching up, yes, and that's great to see, but still behind. And we really need to be thankful to what Elon Musk has done, because he has forced the global automotive industry to go electric. So whether he then succeeds or not with Tesla is a separate matter, but what he's achieved so far already is really absolutely awesome, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. And what was it? Now I forgot the track. What was the other point?
Well, you're giving credit to Elon Musk. I'm still asking you to give some credit to Europe, to BMW or European companies, but no, they're just trailing behind.
They need to show more before they get credit. In the next couple of years, hopefully.
You mentioned Elon Musk, and you've been obviously invested in SpaceX. It just as a sort of strategy of corporate leadership, are you sympathetic to what he's been going through over the last 6 to 8 months? Have you changed your attitude towards him at all, or other investors?
I don't want to go into details. It's not me to judge from outside. Of course, there's been some things that have not been looking great from outside, but I still would like to focus on the big picture of what he's achieved so far, which has been absolutely remarkable, and personally, I'm a big fan.
And you're still committed to the future, everything in terms of investing in SpaceX and other things? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, SpaceX can be seen as an impact investment as well, because it's really going to be instrumental in global internet penetration. And as we know, connectivity is going to play a big role in creating well-being for everybody else on our planet Earth. So I think that's going to have a big role, and that's why I'm very excited about the prospect of SpaceX as well in the next coming years.
So we're going to have to let you go in a couple of minutes, because I know you have to head off. I have to admit, I was kind of depressed when I read something about you. I know you have a couple of young kids, and you were saying how addicted you were to your smartphone. And I had kind of thought that you could get some lessons in how to concentrate from an F1 driver, but it sounds like you have just the same problem as the rest of us. How do you deal with social media and all of those distractions?
Unfortunately, yes, fighting every day against all those addictions. I'm a very addictive person. My secret for when I went towards winning the World Championship was absolute focus. So I really learned to switch everything off. No more emails, no more news, no more social media, and it really helped me. It helped me to have that 1%, 2%, 3% more performance in the heat of the moment when the pressure is on. It really made that difference. So this is something I learned from my life, and I'll always try and stick with, although I'm always deviating into all the addictions, but I always try and fight and bring myself back and focus on the matter at hand. That's, I think, a really core ingredient of success as well, which we see very often in the great leaders in the business world. I just read a piece on Warren Buffett, for example, and absolutely you see this iron, strong focus also in him when you read about him. So I think it's something that's it's common among great success.
I was kind of hoping when you talked about the importance of getting rid of phones that someone's phone would ring, but this is probably the only event at Davos not disturbed by a phone ringing. But what do you say to your kids about it? Do you let them do all the social media and everything? Are they not quite at that stage?
You've got to find the balance. There's no right or wrong. Yeah, you got to find that balance. And so we're introducing them slowly, but it needs to be done carefully and not exaggerated, of course. Yeah. One other weakness from Davos, everybody's looking at their phones during panels and not listening.
Head up. Well, they're listening to you.
Thank you. Most of you are listening. Thank you.
Now
I
we
really
have to let you
appreciate it.
go off and change the world with someone else, one Davos panel at a time. But thank you very much, Nico Rosberg.
Thank you very much for your time. Have a good week.